My guest today had been diagnosed with a rare, incurable autoimmune disease that he was told would ultimately lead to death. After 10 years of heavy medication and having tried numerous alternative health methods, Benjamin finally found Zhineng Qigong. From that moment, his recovery took off, not only curing the impossible, but also regaining the health and the function of his damaged organs. Some podcasts can literally save lives. This is one of them. My name is Thorsten Lüdecke. Welcome to the Wisdom Qigong podcast. Hello everyone and welcome to today's edition of the Wisdom Qigong podcast. Today I have Benjamin Schiess with me. Benjamin is an avid Zhineng Qigong practitioner and he is going to share his very personal healing journey with us today. Benjamin, you're from Switzerland, but you're living on the beautiful island of Ibiza. So welcome to the show, and maybe you would like to share, what was the diagnosis when everything started, and where did you move from there?
Thank you very much for inviting me and for being here. I got the diagnosis of, it's called Pemphigus foliaceus. It is an autoimmune disease, was or is an autoimmune disease. Basically, the immune system is rejecting the skin from head to toe. That was my diagnosis that I got. And of course, the Western medicine says we don't know what's going on. But we can help you, and that's with steroids and with immune suppressants. That was and they were my doctors at the time. They were very clear. Listen, I mean, you're lucky because today we have those medicines. 60 years ago, you would be dead within 2 months. Now you are probably within. They said it to the face, within 20 years, by the side effects of the medicines. That was my starting point.
And that was how many years ago, Benjamin?
20.
Okay, but you look pretty much alive to me these days, so something about the diagnosis didn't work out, right?
No, it did not, luckily. I had a hard journey of 10 years of it was not fun. There was a lot of pain. There was like physical pain, but also like despair. Let's say Western medicine kept me alive and gave me time to research. And I did not all what they suggested me, which also was always a conflict. There was also a moment they kicked me out. They said, like, either you do what we tell you or you go out from this clinic. And I left. After like 5 years, I think I know enough by myself about how to deal with steroids. And I did it by myself, which is in the word, I was by myself. And I tried everything. I don't know if you can name any alternative healing method that I didn't try. And it was not fun. Nothing really helped. And by the end, I was on a constant dose of steroids and antibiotics that kept me kind of like, I would say kept me alive. Like I was not dead, but I didn't really have a life quality. And then life brought me to Zhineng Qigong.
And how did you get to Zhineng Qigong? Was it introduced by a friend or?
Yeah, I always knew, like, you need to imagine my surface, my skin is destroyed. And I realized, but I need movement. My body, I need some kind of movement. And all the yoga, what I tried, even the restorative yoga, whatever, it was just too strong for my system. I had to have a baby life, like too much happiness, too much sadness, too much impact I just couldn't deal with it. So I had kind of, the thing I want to do Qigong was like out of a dream or out of intuition, but I didn't know anything. And then I had a friend that said, listen, I heard about this Qigong. And I heard that miracles can happen there. And it was in Israel at the time. And I was like, okay, that's it. I go. So I heard from a friend that didn't really know what he's talking about. And I went to a 6 days workshop of Zhineng Qigong.
It's actually quite interesting because you said you have tried many other alternative methods before
Yeah.
and none of them worked. And my experience is often that if I talk to people that are, not maybe not in as a dramatic situation than you were, but that have big health challenges, and they try a couple of alternative things, and if none of them helps, they start to shut down and say, okay, if that doesn't help, then I'm not going to try anything else because I'm tired, I'm frustrated. I've tried this method, I've tried that method. But you seem to have been in a different place there. How comes, after all these efforts that you made that didn't work, you weren't fed up yet and you said, okay, let me try it. And you said you were even dreaming about it. So it resonated with you in one way or another. Do you have any explanation for why that was?
Stubborn, maybe. No, I don't know. Like of course, there's a will to be healthy, a will or a wish or I heard along the way, health is our birthright. Maybe just like I mean, my diagnosis was so harsh, and in the same times they were so clueless from the first moment I heard them, that's the dermatologists, talking to me. I was like, and I will find out what the heck is going on. I will
Right.
heal this. That was like a sentence that was alive in me from day number one.
And I think this is an important point here in our podcast episode, because what seems to distinguish you from other people that are in similar situations is you won't take no for an answer. You will just not say, okay, I will not accept that Western medicine says, sorry, there's nothing we can do. Too bad. We're going to give you some medication, but this will basically, if you don't die from the disease, you're going to die from the medication. And you refuse to accept that as the way of, how the universe works, basically. And this is why you continue to search, while many others, would just they might be trying one or two things and then they kind of resign to it and say, well, Western medication says me this is the end, so it's the end. But you basically said, no, it isn't. And I want to find out what's going on here. Am I giving that across correctly here, or am I making this up?
No, you're not making it up, but you touch a very crucial point. You used a few times now the word accept, and I
Right.
am not accepting this. And there for me lies a big, big treasure of the whole thing and a big struggle within my first 10 years with tears of dealing with it because I realized if I'm fighting where I am, I already lost because it is what it is. And
Right.
if I, let's say another word, give up, if I give in, it most probably won't change. And in that workshop, in that I went, the teacher was, his name is Mingtong. The first hour, he spoke about acceptance and how important it is, how to accept. You are sick. You live under restrictions. And if you fight that fact, that isness, you lost already.
Yes.
And at the same time, you have a choice. Like you can, whatever, wherever you are, you can give it, I call it today, like you can give it a direction. You can add to it a vision or a dream or however you want to call it. It's it's like it's a isness with at least you decide in which direction you look. Do I look versus uh, death or do I look versus the ground and I close myself from all the options around or do I look one day I want to be go back to my birthright. And that's what I did, but it's a very fine line. Not to be stubborn, to be flexible, not to be lazy, not to, it's really a dance. And that's actually my first, like when Mingtong Gu at the time was talking like this, I was like, yes, that's what I mean. And nobody could frame it for me. And I was not really able to frame it for myself, but I was like, yes.
We have a way you can discover Qigong. So at the Zhineng Qigong Students Hub, we know that understanding Qigong is very important. And also that Zhineng Qigong in itself has various nuances that people can't easily comprehend. So we've approached it in the style of a video game. On this page, Discover Qigong, you can select your character. So you can either be a beginner, a practitioner, or a holistic healer or self-healer. And you click on your character and it takes you to these different sections. In these sections, you can explore the nuances. And when you click on a card, all of the resources pop up, and we've made it really fun and not many people know about it. So if you are interested, have a look and discover Qigong.
So basically, let me see whether I get this right
Yeah.
this time. The acceptance is to say, this is the way things are. I accept, there's something going on in my body currently that is, obviously not what I want, but I'm not going to fight that. But I will not accept that there's nothing I can do about it. So you accept the situation. You say, yes, this is the way it is. So you don't lose your energy in fighting something which is the reality at that very moment. But you don't accept the thought that there's nothing you can do about it.
I would replace, I can always do my best.
Right, right.
And what is my best is a big art to find out. Because sometimes the best is to rest. Sometimes the best is to listen and learn. Sometimes the best is to do an effort and do that exercise again, even if I'm tired. Yeah, do your best, and then existence will take care of the rest.
Right. And
Whatever.
I would even go one step further here when you say, do your best, and you're not necessarily invested in the outcome. So you're not, because we know that. I mean, some people do Zhineng Qigong and it works perfectly and they get healed, and others do their best and it just doesn't work out. Right. So, but the moment you start to resist whatever the result is that you're creating, then you're already losing your energy in the wrong direction rather than using in the right direction, which is your intention of becoming healthy.
I agree with you. I frame it a little bit different. Do
Please
my
do.
best includes not to get fixated on targets.
Right.
Like to be flexible is part of doing the best. Like if I practice in order to achieve a goal, I have my doubts. I think the aim of practicing is having a good practice or a present practice. And sometimes practice feels amazing, and sometimes it's boring, and sometimes it's difficult, and sometimes you feel like you didn't do anything. It doesn't, it's all just to be witnessed. There is no good practice if there would be a bad practice. And it's just like, practice, really practice your curiosity about yourself, practice to be very on your focus, practice on being precise. And what happens then is like that's another chapter. And I say this, and I know how difficult it is if you're really suffering and you want to get out of it. So it's very, my words are very smart, but I think the key is really in just to be present and not to get trapped between where I want to be and where I am. It's somewhere in the middle.
It's a great thought, Benjamin. And I think if I might, bring my perspective in here again, and I love that we are playing, with each other here, and you keep correcting me or adding something. Now, what I feel like is you have an underlying intention for life, an intention for being healthy. So this is the underlying intention. This is the overall direction. But then when you do your practice, you're not invested in the outcome. You don't say, okay, after the practice, if I feel better, yay, great success. If I don't feel better, oh my God, I failed. During the practice, all you do is you practice. And because you do that, you're basically you're not using your mind to block any energy flow, because our mind isn't more intelligent than our body. Our body actually knows what needs to be done in order to become healthy, right? So you don't want your mind to be in the way. So when you practice and you trust the chi, to do the work that it needs to do, whatever that might be at that moment. And we all know the chi reaction. So it might well be that after an exercise, sometimes you feel like, oh my God, it's getting worse. But really what's happening is that the chi is there repairing whatever it needs to repair. And that might be a little more painful than before, but you trust that the chi does what it needs to do in order to achieve and support your overall intention of becoming a healthy human being. That's what it sounds to me when I listen to you, right? So the distinction is, yes, you have an intention. So I don't want people to think it doesn't matter. No, you have an intention. That was very clear, because otherwise you wouldn't do all this work, right? It was very clear. You want to become healthy. You're not buying into this diagnosis that it's going to kill you, that there is nothing you can do. You want to be healthy. Okay. And then you find a tool like Zhineng Qigong and you use it. But while you do it, you're doing nothing but the exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, good. But please feel free to correct me.
No.
No.
No, there's nothing to correct. Yeah, it is like this. Like in the beginning, like I have to say very honestly, I went into this workshop with a good dose of steroids and antibiotics, and after maybe 3 weeks afterwards, when I continued to practice by myself, I could drop the antibiotics. I just didn't need them anymore. Also, part of my disease was like every 3 to 4 months, I have like an attack, a strong one, where I need to increase all the medicines. I had no attack anymore. So I had very fast, very clear, very strong signs that something good is happening to me. So when I say, you just practice and you don't think about the result, it is true. And I have to say, in my case, I got it easy to do that, because I had very fast, very clear signs. And in the beginning, it was like I made myself a set of, I did like, when we want to go, I had a section out of level 1, a section out of level 2, and even a section out of level 3 that I did every day, regardless of what's happening. I was also there very, you can say devoted, you can stay stubborn, whatever you want to label it. I just did it. And it can mean that I came home at 1:30 in the night, tired, and I didn't go to sleep before I did this. It was like an hour 15. I did it every day. And this also made me experience a few things like, like we the focus and the imagination and like the good intention. And sometimes I was just too tired to think anything. I was just tired. Regardless of that, I did the exercise and I had amazing chi experiences. So it made all very, it's not, do your best is really wide. It can be, sometimes the best is just do and you're tired. Sometimes the best is you just visualize everything. Just do it, says a very famous company.
So let's look at the path that you took. So you went to the workshop, you learned a few Zhineng Qigong exercises. Did you already experience something during the workshop where you felt, okay, there's something about Qigong that seems to be working for me?
Yeah, the gift of acceptance, the absence of conflict.
Okay.
The
Right.
absence
Okay.
of would, should, could, and why, and all the storytelling. It just
Yes.
stopped.
And you created your own routine. Basically, you said, okay, these elements of level 1 and these of level 2 and even of level 3, I'll put them together. That resonates with me. That is what I feel is the best for me. And then you had a strict training routine where you said, I'm going to practice every day an hour 15. And then what happened? What did you notice? Because you said you had some, quite dramatic results relatively soon.
Yes. So as I said, I had these attacks every 3 to 4 months, and it was 4 months no attack, 5 months no attack, 6 months no attack. I think there's no attack. You know,
Right.
every day was like I was like, because these attacks were not fun, and I knew I need to eat poisons to calm them down. So I was like on alert in a way. So that was no attacks. For 3 or 4 weeks, no antibiotics anymore. That's a big impact. And then with the steroids, after playing around with steroids for 10, 11 years, you know, your body is addicted to it and it relies on it, that you take it artificially. So you need to sneak it out. And you don't want to wake up that monster that inside of you. So very, very gradually and slowly, like over slowly, I faded out the steroids. And it just, my body state got just better and better. But to understand, when I say better and better, you need to understand how weak I was. You know, like
Mm.
just staying up late night till 3 o'clock, I had a physical reaction on my skin 2 days later. And so there was a lot to recuperate in my body functions. And this was a process over, I would say, 3 or 4 years
Mm.
that took place, because then maybe after 1 year I was completely medicine free, like allopathic medicine. And but I was not back to normal. I still was like, you know, sun and whatever. I was heavy sick for 10 years.
Mm.
So I kept on practicing less, because also then something else happened. I started to meet other teachers in Europe, and they showed me other practices. And then I started to play more around and became more confident in some areas. And also because I was kind of out of the worst, the confidence came, and my reflex to play with things. And so I became more flexible
Mhm. Mhm.
in also in the routine.
And during that time, did you, I suppose you continue to see the doctors?
I didn't go to see a doctor a long time before I met Qigong, because
Right.
I mean, that was one side effect, you know, to see doctors, and you see they are scared of you because they don't have, every doctor in the end wants to fix you. And I saw so many faces like, shit, I can't fix him.
Mm.
So it was not so uplifting for me to go to doctors, and
Mm.
also only limited helpful. So I went to see a doctor after maybe 6 years or 5 years of starting with Zhineng Qigong. And that was a very funny moment, because I had something that needed to be fixed, like a wound. And of course, he asked me, you know, what's your condition? I said, yeah, I have this and this skin disease. And says, oh, then he asked, oh, okay, and what do you take? I said, no, I'm not taking anything. No, no. He said, what do you take, you know, on a regular basis? I said, no, I'm not taking anything. And then, yeah, but you said you have this diagnosis. I said, yeah. So listen, either you have this diagnosis and you take something, or you know, what? I said, no. And then he was like, don't lie to me. And I said, I'm not lying. Go. And it was by coincidence, it was in the same hospital that was made my first diagnosis long time ago. I said, go to look at my file. And it took him 10 minutes, and he came back and he was like, I don't understand. That's not possible. Well, I said, well, that's not possible sitting in front of you quite comfortable.
Mm.
So I am, for a dermatologist, I am like, that's not possible.
Yes. And your organs, because you said, you know, there's obviously been a lot of damage due to the medication that you had to take, and the body did recover. I mean, I can see you now sitting in front of me. You look like a wonderful, attractive, healthy young man. So for all the listeners that don't watch this video on YouTube, he really is. Do you have any idea on, you know, whether your organs have recovered fully, or what is the state there?
I did all these blood tests, and, you know, like the normal test, and there you don't see anything. You don't.
Well, congratulations.
Well, yeah, and you know, we also need luck, but in all of this. I'm far from knowing or giving advices, or if you have this, do this and this. I just say do your best. And at the moment, I am much better than 20 years ago. And I think I know why. And in the end, life for me is a gift. Every day is a gift. And I really feel I have every day a moment where like, wow, this is just amazing.
Hmm.
And it doesn't, because it's a gift, I still can do my best. You know, it's not a contradiction. Because it's a gift, I can be lazy. No, you know
Hmm.
what's good for
Hmm.
you. Please do it.
It's interesting that you say this. I mean, you've repeated this a couple of times, like doing your best.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to a podcast of a very successful entrepreneur. I think he's Indian by nature, by nationality. And he said something like, I'm never stressed. And he says, do you know why I'm never stressed? Because I'm always doing my best. And when I'm
Hmm.
always doing my best, then there's no point stressing about anything because I can't do any better. And you come across as a very happy and relaxed man. And I think this is could be the reason because if you go through life always showing up as the best person that you can be and doing your best thing, I mean, there's nothing else you could do really. And then the results will be the results. And sometimes we have great results and sometimes results suck. But there's nothing else we can do. So giving your best and doing your best, but from a point of hey, that's just who I am, rather than I need to be the best version of myself or something crazy like that, which puts pressure on you, because that is the risk there. That's not what we're talking about here. No? So it's so much more fun. If you play tennis, it's so much more fun to give your best in the match. And even if you lose, you can be happy because you had such a great match. You did what you could do, and you can congratulate your opponent. But you gave it your best, so you had a fun match, right? And that's basically how you're suggesting it to go through life. And this is probably what supported your recovery so incredibly.
Yeah, and even in the face of death, you just do your best. And if
Right.
it's your time, it's your time. And if it's not your time, it's not your time.
Mm.
Because that's also like one, I mean, one aspect of, people do Jin and Qigong, and they say now, and still they die.
Yes.
Uh, We all gonna die. It's just how we design our time till then.
Mhm.
Or if we ignore it, or it brings me also a lot of gratitude for for every day.
Now, you said that you're not here to give people, exact advice because every person is different and everyone has their own lives and their own challenges. And at the same time, there were some key insights along the way. And the first one was the insight of acceptance,
Yeah.
right? And I personally would say without that, any healing process is going to be difficult. Or you might be successful for a time and then, the disease might come back. So I think this is an incredible insight. So if there was anything else that you feel like this was key to my healing or to your healing, please, just point it out again. I know we've probably touched upon it during the podcast, but I just want to make sure everybody gets the main messages here.
Um, Acceptance. Do your best, or you also do your best in versus doing the right thing. Doing the right thing is always like, okay, do the exercise the correct way, but actually I'm super tense not to do a mistake. But no, just do your best and it's perfect. Uh, that then something about persistence or like to just keep on doing it anyway, even at 2 o'clock in the night. Something about the creative power of the mind. We all have our monkey minds and we are worried. I'm worried. Like mostly in the outside. And what this method gave me is really to take the focus in and to examine my shoulders, my heart, my digestive system, really to stay, to give this mind that we have that has so many unnecessary thoughts per day, to give it a purpose and stay with digestion, stay with the heart, stay with breathing. How are your, it really improves and is the base of my future decisions of how I continue with my day. And if I know how hungry I am and what really does feed me well, my choices of food become naturally much better. So it improves my state of being and it avoids many stupid thoughts. Just make your mind busy with this. And that was like a tremendous learning at the moment in the beginning, also because I was in a lot of pain and in a lot of despair with my situation, to just close my eyes, stand and feel inside for more than 30 seconds was very, very stressful. Because so direct the creative power of the mind. Focus on your body. That's also key. And then something about what we think is good and bad, or like this thing of if I practice, practicing or doing Qigong is not trading. I give you 10 euro, you give me one bottle of wine. It's not working like this. It's you practice because practice does something good. Maybe because you just don't think funny things and you only focus on your body or you focus on the universe and you and back and forth. And that by itself is a gift. Don't come with the check bill. I practice. Let go of a few conditions, or a good life is a healthy life. Maybe not. Like all these concepts that we have, scratch on them.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Benjamin, for sharing all that with us. I have to ask you, are you also teaching Zhineng Qigong?
Yeah, I'm very shy about that.
But you are teaching?
I slowly open up for people. If people want to come and practice with me, I'm open to it. And I'm
Okay.
organized now myself a room. And then let's see. Because, in for our Western mind that, and for many people, like now I want to do Pilates and then I want to do this. And then there's always this moment of like achieving something, having a result. And what we do is so off that my fear is that I will bore so many people. And in the same time, because I know what kind of a gift it can be, I don't want to miss them the opportunity to meet this gift.
I've got some advice there for you, Benjamin.
Okay.
Just give your best.
Take it. Thank you.
All right, there we go. Thank you very much, Benjamin, for sharing all these insights with us. First of all, I'm very happy that you chosen this journey, and I think the world is a better place because you are around and you are healthy and you are shining and you are sharing. And quite frankly, I think sharing this with people is saving lives here and is bringing people back to health, that they might learn some ideas from you, just like you learned the first very important idea through Mingtong, where it suddenly clicked and you thought, okay, this is missing, this is what I need. And I hope that our conversation here might have brought this aha moment to one or two or three people somewhere out there. So I want to thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me here today. I loved this podcast a lot, and I hope to see you one day somewhere around the world and maybe practice together.
Amen. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and share my little story.
We trust you enjoyed this conversation, and we invite you to subscribe to our podcast so we can stay in touch and notify you of future episodes. We will end today's episode with the 8 verses meditation performed by Zhineng Qigong teacher Katrin Hendricks. Enjoy. To get your free ebook on the 8 verses meditation, please check the show notes below.